With so many home buying companies trying to lowball you, Orchard is the outlier. They pay you on the upside when your old home sells for more. So let me ask you again, do you want to get paid twice to sell your home? I know I would, but how's that even possible? So learn how to get paid twice and get a free valuation at Orchard.com. That's Orchard.com. One more time, Orchard.com.
Whew, it's hotter than a Texas barbecue out here.
Yep, that's why I'm heading to Factory Mattress for their Keep Your Cool sales event, featuring the hottest deals on cooler sleep.
I slept in the fridge last night.
Well, lucky for you, they're clearing out $300,000 of closeout inventory and slashing prices up to $1,200 on select Serta iComfort mattresses. Plus, get free delivery or a free adjustable base with select mattresses.
Okay, that sounds cool.
It gets even cooler with their just-released new Tempur-Pedic Breeze that helps you sleep 10 degrees cooler and comes with a free $300 gift.
I feel cooler just hearing about it.
I think your shoe just melted.
Hurry in for the Keep Your Cool sales event and experience the cooler side of sleep at Factory Mattress, where we have sleep down to a science.
My Factory Mattress.
From the UBO Business Services Studios, you're listening to KTXX-FM and HD1 BK, KTAE-AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock.
This hour brought to you by Lake Travis Eye and Laser Center, offering the latest technology for cataracts and laser lens replacement. The newest technology is at Lake Travis Eye and Laser Center.
Guests on the Horn appear courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com. It's Light the Tower, your daily look around the world of sports. With Hall of Fame broadcaster and voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way.
Say goodnight to this one!
And Horns 24/7 insider, Jeff Howe. On your live, local, and independent home for sports talk in Austin, The Horn.
Happy Friday morning to you. Hope it's off to a good start for you. Welcome to Light the Tower on the Horn, 1049, 1019, AM 1260, or live, local, and digital on the Horn app and hornfm.com. My name is Craig Way. Thanks so much for joining us. I do appreciate that. Jeff Howe still out on work assignment for his 9-to-5 gig, if you will, the Horns 24/7 meetings and responsibilities that he has that he's carrying out. He'll be back on Monday. A producer, Cameron Parker, is here. What is it Jeff calls you? Play-by-play prodigy? Is that what he says?
Yeah.
Something. Okay.
That's his go-to.
That's okay. It's all right. Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
How you doing this morning?
A lot better than Ty. That's for sure.
Yeah, now what was the deal on that for folks who didn't know? I mean, he was out making merry, so to speak, last night. Was it?
All I know is that the couch pillows or cushions, from the lobby here at the Horn Studios aren't in the couch, so I'm guessing he kind of bunked up somewhere around here. Actually, probably in the studio. I better look around and make sure there's nothing on the ground. But yeah, I guess he had a fun night stay here at the Horn Studio, which I've done before.
I started to say, you've done that, hadn't you?
It's all right.
Yeah.
But I did not wake up looking like that. So, Ty, Godspeed, brother. Drink some Pedialyte.
Yeah, I'm hearing that. I remember giving that to my kids when they were little to avoid dehydration. And have you done that?
Pedialyte? Usually, if it's going to be like Texas football, if we're going to be out all day on the in the field just cooking and stuff, maybe some Gatorade, Pedialyte, something like that.
Okay, yeah.
But different use than what Ty will you be using it.
It's all about the electrolytes, isn't it?
Exactly.
Making sure you recharge your electrolytes. Somebody just asked me on the Specs text line, which is open at 337-3776, 512-337-3776. When I said, good morning, glad to be with you on this Friday morning. So I said, will you be back on Monday, Craig? That's what we all want to know. Yeah. Well, you rolling out the snark this morning? Yeah, I'm here. And I understand kind of the subtext of what you're talking about, and the announcement that was made yesterday by the university, and I read the announcement right after it came out about the network radio broadcast rights shifting from Austin Radio Network to iHeart Austin. So, yes, I understand what your context is, but yes, I will be here on Monday. So, and I'll look forward to being here, and I'll look forward to giving away a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine on Monday, but we'll do one today too. We've been giving them away all throughout the month of July. Actually, we started in June before I even left town on vacation, and we'll continue to give away copies of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, the 2023 edition. Let me tell you what's coming up. You might have heard Aaron Hogan make reference to it right near the end of the program. Mack Brown will join us in a few minutes, and we'll talk some football and talk some life journey things for him. We'll talk about his ball club. We'll talk about what he is in the state of Texas for this weekend. He was asked to address the Texas High School Coaches Association's annual coaching school. They asked him, reached out to him and asked, would you consider coming down and speaking to our group? And I'll let him tell you pretty much the details on it. But he said, yes, he would be happy to do it. And then he also asked if I was going to be there because I'm going to because Mac has known for years when I moderate events for the THSCA for their annual coaching school. I really love doing it. Those are great guys. And Joe Martin and Glenn West, the executive director and the assistant executive. Glenn, by the way, one of the inductees into the Hall of Honor banquet on Saturday night, and that's going to be one of the duties I perform as I serve as the master of ceremonies, the MC for the Hall of Honor banquet on Saturday night. When the convention officially opens, they open with what they call their Huddle Up presentation. And it will open this Sunday, that's where they wanted Mac to address it, and then he asked about my availability to maybe do a Q&A thing in lieu of an actual, standard speech type thing. So I'll let him explain it from his perspective. But they asked me if I would do that, and I was thrilled to say, yeah, absolutely. So we're going to have some fun on that. But we'll kind of give you a little bit of a preview of the types of things that we're going to talk about on Sunday. So we'll do that. And then we'll also talk about some other issues in college football and get his thoughts on it, because he's obviously one of the most learned minds in the game, one of the most well-respected. He is a college football Hall of Famer, and, of course, a national championship winning coach, which he did here going on 18 years ago. This fall will be 18 years since the Longhorns national championship season. So we'll hear from Mac coming up here in a few minutes. We'll have our Longhorn notebook, some good Longhorn baseball notes to pass along just past the bottom of the hour. As I mentioned, we'll give away a copy of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. We'll do that. We'll have Inconceivable. We have a little bit different take on this deal. This is a Friday, and what does Friday normally mean, Cam, when it comes to Inconceivable?
Well, usually, Craig, on Fridays, I'm reaching down low for that low-hanging fruit.
Yep. From the most flaccid of the 48 contiguous states in the United States, Florida. However, it's been kind of quiet for the Florida Man this week. But we've got a couple of other little items we'll get to that are related to it.
I have one Florida story, Craig.
Okay, we'll see. Then it's going to check the box. So we'll do that. So anyway, so that's what the deal is with that. So anyway, we'll have that coming up. 11 o'clock hour, Gene Watson, of course, assistant general manager of the Kansas City Royals, will join us. Gene joins us every week or 2 or 10 days, or as his schedule permits and his travel schedule allows as well. And Gina will join us. We'll have a little preview of the second half of the Major League Baseball season. That's coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. We also have a Flex 30 update in the 11 o'clock hour. And additionally, in addition to that, we'll have another Longhorn Notebook coming up in the 11 o'clock hour. So we have all of those kinds of things still coming up. So, in fact, I'm going to jump to Major League Baseball for a moment, Cam, and then we'll get back into football topics. And then, like I said, Mac Brown will be with us here in just a few minutes. You're a big baseball follower. What did you like most about the first half of the baseball season? Let's start with that. What did you like most about the first half of the Major League Baseball season?
Well, my Texas Rangers were actually contending. That's what I liked the most about it. I actually, for the first time since 2017, I was watching Rangers baseball into the month of July. That's what me and Chad Hastings have been bonding over the last few months. Besides the Rangers, obviously it's going to be Shohei Ohtani's story, and Ellie De La Cruz has been very fascinating, and I've been glued watching what the young rookie has been doing on the baseball diamond this season. Yeah.
So that's going to be a lot of fun to visit with. So we'll talk to Gene about that and get his thoughts on it as well. I there's been some surprises. I would say as a fan of a team in the National League West, some folks might be surprised that here at the figurative, if not numerical, midway mark of the season, the Dodgers, who have been the annual favorite for several years, find themselves in a flat-footed tie with the Arizona Diamondbacks. But those who were paying close attention to what the D-backs had going on are probably not really that surprised by it. Zach Gallen's been tremendous. Corbin Carroll has been a really nice surprise as a rookie. So for them to be the two teams to be tied, I think the Dodgers are whatever percentage points ahead. They have one fewer win, and one fewer loss as well. But they're basically in a virtual tie, and that's been one of the surprise. The other thing, I asked Gene. Now this has been at least a month. I asked him, fact or fiction, the American League Central Division winner will have a sub 500 record. And he said, I'm going to say fiction right now. He said, now, it may not be much above 500, but I don't think it'll be a losing record. Well, here we are, starting the figurative second half of the Major League season. The Cleveland Guardians are in first place, and what is their record?
45 and 45.
Yeah, they're even 500. They're 500. And what, the Twins are 45 and 46? They're a half game back? Yeah.
The Angels, who are 7 games back from the Rangers, Craig, fourth place in the AL West, would only be a half a game back from the Guardians in the AL Central.
Wow. And what is it? Every team in the American League East is above 500, I believe?
Yeah. Red Sox worst team 48 and 43, which would be the best record in the AL Central.
Yeah, it would be. They'd be in first place instead of chasing
by 2.5 games.
Yeah, instead of chasing the Rays, who by the way had some faltering late in the first half of the season. That allowed the red hot Atlanta Braves to move past them for the best record overall in big league baseball. So we'll talk about all those topics with Gino. We'll get to that, and yeah, there's a lot of college football to get to. A couple other items here before we visit with Mac Brown. Like I said, our Specs text line is open at 337-3776. Longhorn Bear says he's looking forward to UT Baseball 2024. Absolutely. and that'll kind of lead us also into our Longhorn Notebook when we get to that past the bottom of the hour with what they have. With Porter Brown's announcement yesterday that he's coming back. Also, we already knew. I guess a day before, the Longhorn pitchers, Tanner Witt and LeBaron Johnson Jr. early yesterday saying they were coming back. So LBJ and Tanner both coming back. That's a big thing for Texas to have the young talent that they have, and other guys go not only undrafted, but even some of the high school prospects, to see a Will Gasparino available to come. So there's some really exciting developmental things on the horizon there for Texas. Phil, who's asking, you are the letters. You are. I thought it was you are still the voice of the Horns, correct? Last I checked. Yeah, I'll be doing the games this fall, and then to other folks, I think Woodworker had it, and a couple other guys were asking, wanting more transparency about what the future plan is for the radio station. I can tell you honestly, I don't know all of the details on all of that, and so we've been told that there will be some other announcements forthcoming on that. That is the truth on that. But we'll keep everybody posted. I understand people are anxious to hear about that. All right. Appreciate that. We will always continue to take your texts on the Specs text line. But we want to go to the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. I know I feel like I'm the throwback thing, but we are talking about a man here who established some unbelievable highs as the head football coach at the University of Texas. If you think about all the consecutive 10-win seasons, and of course the capper being the 2005 national championship season, but he is a college football Hall of Famer. He not once but twice has turned around, and as a native of the state of North Carolina, I know how incredibly difficult this job it would be in both occasions, turning around the North Carolina football program 2 times now. And he joins us right now. Mack Brown joins us on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina hotline. I really appreciate the time, Mack. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great, Craig. Thanks for having me on.
You bet. I was thinking about something this morning, and I guess we should let folks know a little bit about it. I talked about it just a little bit, but I know you've always been very, very close to the Texas High School Coaches Association, going all the way back when your good friend Eddie Joseph was the executive director, and the late Eddie Walsky and the late Eddie Joseph were big parts of that. And then going on to D.W. Rutledge with Joe Martin, his assistant. Now it's Joe and Glenn West, and you've known these guys. I mean, you recruited some of Glenn West's best players when he was at Brenham. So you've had these relationships a long time with them, and I know I'd heard they went calling for you. They wanted to have you visit with them, and I wanted to give you a little bit of an opportunity, first of all, just to talk about this Sunday and the panel, the Q&A that we're going to do, and the things about that really relate to what you love and seem to love most, and that's coaching and coaches and working around coaches. And I wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about that before we hit a couple other topics.
Yeah, well, Craig, I grew up in a high school coaches family. My granddad and my dad were high school coaches, and then principals, and then superintendents, and so my life was with high school football, and it's absolutely a farm program. We wouldn't have college football if it wasn't for the great high school coaches that send us guys. And the high school coaches in the state of Texas treated me so well. The guys that you just mentioned, some we've lost and missed so much, but others are dear friends to this day. Glenn West actually came to a game this year, and came, I think it was a Notre Dame game, and asked me to speak to the coaches. And gosh, those coaches have been great to me for the 21 years I was at Texas, 16 coaching, and then since we've been here, they've come to visit, and they constantly call us about recruits, and but they were one of the main reasons we won the national championship. We were about 99% high school football players from the state of Texas, and the ones that we didn't have from Texas were legacies. So after the game, I readily said that we are here because of the high school coaches in the state of Texas, and absolutely meant it. And they've asked me to fly down on Sunday to Houston, and you and I do a question and answer, and then do a little bit of panel. And I absolutely cannot tell this group of people no. And I'm excited about seeing a lot of friends on Sunday, including you, so we can catch up.
Yeah, it'll be an awful lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to what are the types of you have visited with coaches many times over the years, high school coaches, college coaches, clinics, things like that. You've always been a real big football junkie about just immersing yourself in those kinds of things. What do you enjoy the most about the coaching family and the extended family of Coaching Tree and all of that sort of stuff? What do you enjoy the most about that part of the game?
Craig, most people, that if you haven't coached, it's like if I haven't been in the business of the people that are our boosters, I don't know what they do. I think I do, and I have opinions, but coaches are a rare breed, and coaches influence young people's lives. And the older I get, I have to realize I have to be really careful what I say to a young guy, because he's going to listen and he's going to remember it. And guys come back that played for me 30 years ago and say, remember when you said this? And I might not even remember it, but he did. Or remember when you went to my dad's funeral? And I'll remember when Coach Royal was struggling with dementia. I went to see him, and he knew who I was. And he had forgotten a lot of people, and it really bothered me. But one thing he never forgot is the name of a player that walked in to see him. And that really told me something about the influence that you have on the players, but also the influence the players have on you and for the rest of your life. And Sally and I have a family of players for over 35 years as a head coach, and now they're grown up, and now we're coaching some of their sons. And some of the Texas players brought their kids to camp this year, that some of our ex-players. So I think, Craig, just the fact that we all appreciate and respect each other and what we do. When I was doing TV, a lot of the media would ask me, why do you take up for coaches so much? And I said, I know how hard they work. I know that they're trying to get things done. Doesn't mean they're going to do it right. All of us mess stuff up. We just do it in public. And I think that's the respect and appreciation and love that I have for coaches, because the high school coaches don't even make that much money in a lot of cases, and they work so hard, and their benefits are winning and championships and all those things. But the real benefit is the influence that you can have on somebody's life, and that's a real gift.
There's always an image that is burned into my mind. Several, obviously, of our time together and when you were the coach at Texas, but there's one that always remains really indelibly etched in my mind, and it has to do with coaching school and that sort of thing. And one year, ironically, where we'll be on Sunday in Houston. Coaching school was in Houston, and this was probably around 2004 or something like that. And we'd had the panel discussion, the Division I coaches panel discussion, which I'll do again on Sunday evening or something. And then I went to dinner with some other media members, and then afterwards I had some work to do, some reports for the radio station, was doing all that kind of stuff, and I finally get done with that, and it's 1:30 in the morning, and I thought, I'm thirsty. I need a bottle of water before I go to bed. So I go down to the lobby, and it's that old Astrodome Sheridan that we were all headquartered at back in the day. And I go down, and I go in the little store to get a bottle of water, and I start to go back up to an escalator or elevator, and I see you standing in the lobby at 1:40 in the morning visiting with a coach. Now, the typical response might be fans would say, well, yeah, he's recruiting, he's working it. This was a coach, and I knew who he was. He was a coach of a very small classification, like a 2A school, deep in the Rio Grande Valley. He was never going to have a player that you were going to recruit. It was never about anything, but there you were listening to what he said, and it's 1:40 in the morning. And I thought, well, that's Mac in a nutshell. But, I mean, those types of moments, I know just getting an opportunity to visit, as you just said, with a young coach, I mean, those things still resonate with you, don't they?
Well, they do, Craig, and we as college coaches ask the high school coaches to give us so much. Get the kid to come to visit. Try to talk to the kid about coming to your school. What time are you practicing? We're going to see your practice. And I've always told our coaches, when we go to a coach's clinic, we go to a coach's convention, like coach's school is what we called it in Texas. They're going to have 12,000 plus coaches there this weekend. You need to win the clinic. You be the first one there to help these coaches and give back to them, and you be the last one to leave, because that's your payback. And we've always told them, anything the NCAA will let us do for you as high school coaches, especially in our state, then we're going to do it. And we're going to do it better than anybody else. So I said, you better be there first and you better be there last. So if A&M was sitting in the lobby, we were going to make sure that we stayed longer than A&M. So that was part of the competition at coaches' school.
Well, I also remember, too, when in doing the panel discussion, you were a participant, just like all the other Division I FBS coaches in the state of Texas. But you had every one of your staff members, your full-time coaches, your GAs, they were all there, and that was the first time I'd seen any other coach do that. Now, I think just about all of them do it now, but they were all there, and they were all in burnt orange coaching polos, and they were all front and center and taking notes and playing and all that. So clearly you wanted them visible and present for the other high school coaches, as well as just listening to what was going on in the panel.
Yes, Craig. I wanted our coaching staff to show the respect to the high school coaches in the state of Texas that we had, and I wanted them available. And if a question came up to the panel, and it was an interesting question, and one of the coaches wanted to grab one of our assistants, if maybe I was busy, I wanted them all there. I wanted them visible, and I wanted them available to answer questions if we didn't have enough time, because you had to take a bunch of egos with all the head coaches sitting on a panel, and you had to make sure that you could get everybody a fair shake, and they all knew you were working at Texas. So that was a very difficult job that you managed very well.
well, I appreciate that. We had a good time. We're visiting with Mack Brown here. I want to get your thoughts on the art and the science and the myth, the mythology of recruiting itself. Has it changed a great deal from, say, even 11, 12 years ago, even 5 years ago when you got back into the game at Carolina? Has recruiting changed that much? A, because of the portal, and B, because of NIL and things of that nature. And how much has it changed, and changed for you?
Craig, it has changed. It started changing in the late 90s and early 2000s with social media. Because when you said something to a kid or sent a kid a note, it was on social media, so everybody knew it. Before that, you could have a private conversation with a player, a high school coach, or a family, and then third parties started getting involved. And then coaches could get to the players through social media without going through the head coach. And we have always respected the head coach and go through him, get he and the family involved. That's the only people we use, and that changed some. And then you've got 7-on-7s now across the country, and they have coaches. And they're gone most of the summer, and they don't get to stay around their high school teams and coaches as much. And then when I came back 5 years ago, I thought the biggest difference was early signing date. And I was the president of the American Football Coaches Association when we presented early signing date. We wanted it only for legacy kids that wanted to go to your school and nowhere else, and wouldn't take any other visits, and we wanted it for early signees because they didn't have a signing date. Well, the NCAA said that you can't just do it for a certain number. If you're going to do it for anybody, you got to do it for everybody. So they opened it up, and now we really just have one huge signing date in December, and the second one's just kind of a catch-up as we look at it. So that was different because you're now we've got 20-something commitments, and we'll probably be through by the end of July with our recruiting, where before you wouldn't even start till you'd have them come unofficially for a couple of games in the fall, and then you'd start having official visits in January. Now you're having all your official visits in March, April, and May, June. So it's just totally different. And then the addition of NIL and the addition of transfer portal has just made it really crazy. So you really have to decide who you are. Are you a school that's got a lot of money? Are you a school that's going to go by the rules? You can't offer kids money through NIL any different than you did before NIL, because if you offered a kid $200,000 to come to your school, that was an inducement. If you do that now, it's the same thing. What you can do is say that our running back, our top running back, is making $200,000, and if you play well enough, then that's a possibility for you. But you can't just offer money, and obviously cheaters cheat, and people that were cheating before with inducements are cheating now. So that hadn't changed. It's just what it is. So that makes it different, because we have to look at the family, and if the family's going to take money illegally and we're not going to recruit them, not that much different than before, but we've got to be very selective in who we recruit. We've got to recruit somebody that wants to be at North Carolina academically. We've got to recruit somebody that's not just going to take money, because if they're going to take money coming in, and we lost 5 kids last year because of money, then, Craig, if they play great their freshman year, they're going to leave after that because somebody's going to offer them money, and that's where the transfer portal comes in. As far as the transfer portal itself, I haven't changed any. I've said it's a privilege to be at a University of Texas, or it's a privilege to be at a University of North Carolina, and you have earned the right to be here. That doesn't mean you get to do anything you want and stay. And if you want to leave, then leave. Go talk to your assistant coach. If you're not playing more, we're playing the guys that give us the best chance to win. If you don't like it and your parents don't like it, don't gripe. You can get in the portal in 5 minutes, and I'll help you go. So that part really hadn't changed that much. I think the biggest part that everybody's trying to figure out, NIL is a good thing. We're having young people learn how to handle their money, where they have more money than they've ever had. They're learning how to do charity work, but there's no guidelines. And we don't have amateurism anymore. We're more like the mini NFL, but we need guidelines. And we need it so there can be some fairness, because the schools with the most money are going to separate from everybody else, and it's kind of been that way anyway. And then we're just going to have a major league of 12 teams that are in the playoff, and everybody else is going to be playing at a different level, which I'm not sure is the model that is good for all of college football.
Mack Brown with us right now, and I'm just going to keep you another couple minutes. There's 2 questions that I've been wanting to ask you since since you were working television, one of them, and then the second one upon your return to Chapel Hill. And so here's a preview. I said to the listeners, a preview of something I'll ask you on Sunday. One, the 5 years that you spent with ESPN, what struck you the most during that time about the game and coaches and the broadcast industry? That's the first question I have. And then the second one was, how different is the North Carolina position now than it was when you went in 1987 and you had the back-to-back 1-10s and all that kind of thing, and then flipped it all there before you came to Austin? But first, let me start with the ESPN thing and what that did for you and the perspective it gave you before you went back to coaching again.
Craig, it helped me so much. Number one, we were kind of worn out at the end at Texas, and it didn't end like we wanted it to, obviously. And 16 years is a long time. Sally always laughs and says it's 4 presidential terms. And we have so many friends in Texas, and we loved our time there, and wouldn't give it back for anything. And still love Austin. We've got a son, daughter-in-law, and 2 grandkids in Austin. Sally goes back probably once a month and gets to see them. I go back for our charity once a month. But we loved what we did. So when I got through, I'd been coaching my whole life, so I didn't have anything to do. And I was lucky. John Skipper called me and said, "We want you to work for ESPN." And it was funny. I went home and I said, Sally, John Skipper called and said he wanted to hire me at ESPN. She said, "What are you doing?" And she said, I said, "Well, I didn't ask him. I don't know for sure." He said it would be a prominent job. And she said, "Well, how much money are you making?" I said, "I don't know. I didn't ask him." And she said, "Well, how long's your contract?" And I said, I don't know, sweetie. He told me to call him back in June and we'd figure it out. So I trusted John, and and then I had my 5 years with the media. And the thing I think that got me, Craig, is I didn't realize how hard your job is and how hard the writers' jobs are and how hard the TV jobs are. They're not after coaches. But you've got to have people read your stuff or watch your stuff or listen to your stuff. And you've got to have unique stuff, and you've got to bring energy. And sometimes people get mad at your perspective, but that's your job. It's an opinion job, and you're forming an opinion, and you're giving opinions. And that's okay. I have learned to agree to disagree. I may not agree with you, and you may not even be right in my mind, but if you think you're right, or in some cases they needed to do that for their job, then it was something that they had to do, because you constantly got people putting pressure on you to stir things up and get a very strong opinion, and it needs to be with sound bites. And so it's very difficult. The first TV job I had, they set me on there with John Saunders on ABC Countdown to Kickoff, and they didn't tell me anything. And they just said, answer John's questions. I said, well, which camera do I look at? And they said, don't worry about it. Look at John. And I mean, I had absolutely no chance to sit and visit and ask about the show or questions. And then they'd be in my ear. And I'll never forget, Craig, one of them said something about make your answer shorter. And I said, got it. And they said, don't talk to me on TV. You're on TV instead of the earpiece. So it was a great time for me, and I loved ESPN and ABC, and I had a team, and I had people, and I got to visit with coaches, and I loved calling games because it put me back in the position of the head coach, and I could give a perspective of what he was thinking, whether people liked it or not. And I got to sit and watch 24 games every Saturday and comment on those. I loved it. I thought it was an unbelievable experience for me, but one that really helped me when I got back in coaching. And then the difference in the North Carolina job now and before, there are a lot of differences. Number one, if I was 2-20, I'd have been fired this time because people are getting fired a lot faster. I think I'm making $5 million now. I was making $275,000 when I left here to go to Texas. And they paid me $750,000 at Texas with a 7-year contract. So all of those things have sure changed. But the North Carolina job is in a better position now than it was before, because the ACC was not considered a prominent conference. Florida State was winning it all the time, and you had the BCS. So unless you could beat Florida State in our last year, we lost one game. We lost Florida State 20-3, and we were number 4 in the country, and they were 1 in the country, but we still couldn't get to a major bowl game, a BCS game. We went to the Gator Bowl. So now you have a chance by the structure of your league, if you win, because Clemson's been the dominant team in this league. Most years, Clemson's won this league, and they've been in the playoff. So that gives us a chance with more teams, more games, better teams. But there is a platform now for us to get in the playoff, and with a 12-team playoff, it gives you even a better platform to get in the playoff. You don't even have to win your league to get in, and could still win a national championship. So I do feel like because of that, this job is better now than it was then.
The final thing here, I have so many images of the time when you were coaching and going out in the practice field and seeing you standing there out at midfield, and you'd have me come out there and visit with Coach Royal and Eddie Jones when you had him there, and it was always a lot of fun. And I think about that. And then I think about when we were doing your weekly radio show. At the time, we were doing it in your conference room. And I remember the year. I remember the time. You'll remember the year because you went through it when you had the double knee replacement. And you come in, and you'd come in off the practice field. I think when we were doing the show on Wednesday nights, and we were doing the show live in those days, and you come in with these 2 giant ice bags, one on each knee, and you'd prop your legs up on the table and say, if you ever get knee replacement, never do them both at the same time. I remember you saying that, and I remember you putting on when we did a show on Halloween, and you put on like an alien mask, and it was an awful lot of fun. But probably some of the stuff I enjoyed the most about those is that quite often you would quote Coach Royal. Is there one quote from Coach Royal that stands out in your mind as much as anything else? Because I know how much you admired and respected him before the time you came to Texas, when you were here and were in his company when you were at Texas, and then of course we lost him while you were still at Texas. But is there's something that stands out from those times, the things that Coach Royal said that stands out as much as anything else?
Craig, there's so many things that stand out. And I find myself right now talking to our team or talking to our staff and saying, Coach Royal taught me this. Coach Royal taught me this. Coach Royal taught me this, because he took complicated things and made them simple. I think the one that probably stood out to me as much as any, he always said, I said, Coach, how am I going to explain this publicly? And he said, just say that you ain't going to believe this stuff, brother, without saying stuff. Because he was always saying, never seen that before, brother. But we lost to Oklahoma, and we played very poorly, and it was a bad game, a bad score. And after the game, I said our team quit. And I think it was the first time we'd lost to Oklahoma. And I was on my way home on the bus, and Coach Royal called me. He said, "You're not doing very good, are you?" And I said, "No, I'm not. I feel bad. We've let our fans down, let our team down. We played very poorly, and I've had it. We didn't play well at all." He said, "Well, a couple of things. When you're talking to the media after a loss, you need to say very little." He said, "The less you say, the less you got to take back." And he said, "You might as well blame yourself, because they're going to blame you anyway. And if you win, give credit to the players and your assistant coaches. But if you lose, blame yourself." And he said, "And you said something today that is really wrong." And I said, and he did say, he said, "I got beat 77-13 or something once by Oklahoma in the 70s. So you're not the only one that's ever had your butt kicked by Oklahoma. So you don't need to start acting like it's only happened to you and feel sorry for yourself." I said, "Yes, sir." And then the last thing he said is, he said, "You said your team quit. And that's wrong, Coach, because your team didn't quit. There's probably some players on your team that quit. But I can promise you, when you get home tonight and you watch that film, you're going to see a lot of guys that busted their tail and played great, and you need to apologize to them tomorrow." And he was so right. Teams don't quit. Players may quit. Teams don't play bad. Players may play bad. Certain players. But overall, you can't just take a group of players and say your team quit. And I will never, ever do that again. I remember Casey Hampton played one of the best games I've ever seen. And I apologized to the team the next morning, the guys that played well. I had them all stand up. And I said, "I apologize to you, because I mentioned you in the group. And there's a lot of guys in here that didn't play well. Some did quit. And we're going to address that. But the rest of you didn't." And I said, "Casey Hampton, you keep standing, man, because you played the best game I've ever seen. So I am really sorry that I mentioned your name with some of these others. And we're going to get them straight, but you just keep doing what you're doing." And that's how wonderful Coach Royal was, and that's why he won 3 national championships and has a stadium named after him. I mean, that's who he was, and he helped me at Texas more than anybody. Coach Joseph was there every day. They were like family to me. And Coach Royal was like an older brother to me. And that's why I quote what he says all the time. A young high school coach came up to him and said, "Coach, how do I become you?" And Coach Royal says that we were at practice. Coach Royal says, "You got to have it." And he said, "You got to have it to make it. If you don't know what it is, you're not going to make it." And the young guy looked at me, and I kind of said, I got you. I'm with you, bud." He turned around and walked off. Coach Royal said, "Hell, he ain't got it." So, I mean, that was just Coach Royal. He was going to be as honest and direct as he possibly could be. And that's why he was just so much fun.
I remembered that one. And then what if he'll bite as a pup, he'll bite as a grown dog, something like that.
He said, I said once, he said, "How about your team, Coach?" And I said, "They're young." And he said, "Well, number one, if they'll bite as a pup, they'll bite as a dog." Or he said, "If they won't bite as a pup, they won't bite as a dog," meaning the young ones better fight. The other thing he said, "If you're young and good, that's a good thing. If you're young and bad, that ain't worth a damn." Yep. No, don't. So he said, "Don't talk to me about how old they are. Talk to me about how good they are."
It's kind of like, and he was there obviously, and was the athletic director when the immortal Abe Lemons was the basketball coach, and Abe said something like, "The good news is we have almost our entire team back. The bad news is we have almost our entire team back." Coming off of that.
Coach Royal was telling me that Coach Lemons one time they said, "Are you interested in the Lakers job?" And he says, "No, because of lack of interest." And he said, "What do you mean?" He said, "They're not interested in me." So it's just the characters that you go through in coaching, and Coach Royal with me was just hilarious. I just absolutely loved him and loved being around him, and we lost him before we really lost him because his mind wasn't as good at the end. But I'm going to tell you, he has influenced more people in the state of Texas than probably anybody, and he has been the greatest influence other than my granddad on my life. And I just miss him so much. But he lives, his spirit lives with me every day, and that's so much fun.
Well, I appreciate you doing this. I know I kept you longer than I promised I would, and it was great to have just a little warm up chat with you. I'm looking forward to this thing on Sunday because, like I've said, you know, for people who listen, and people have weighed in with all kinds of text and just all kinds of great comments for you and everything. But when I've seen you, sometimes when you're at your best is when you're with coaches, and I know that's the way you would prefer it, and it'll be a lot of fun to see you on Sunday and have you have those comments with the coaches. So I appreciate the time, Mac, and I hope you travel safe down to H-Town, and we look forward to seeing you on Sunday in Houston.
Well, thank you, Craig. We're actually going to land at 10:30. We're going to do our deal with you, get back on the plane at 2 because they got a lot of work to do here. We need to win more games, and we'll be back here by 5:45. So it's going to be a quick day on Sunday, but can't wait to see you and our many friends in the coaching world that you and I have, and can't wait to catch up. And thank you to all the Texas fans that treated us so well for so many years while we were there, packing the stadium every week and making it a wonderful place to play and a great experience. I asked Roy Williams one time, our great receiver, somebody asked me once, how do you handle a loss at home, Roy? I mean, what do you do? Do you go out or do you? And he said, "Oh, Coach, I never lost at home." So I thought, well, that's the best way to handle it. Don't lose at home, and then you don't have to worry about going out. You just do what you want. So, but we had a lot of wonderful years, and I've got so many friends in the state, and just love them and appreciate them. And my life's better because of the University of Texas and all the fans, but also all the high school coaches. So this will be a fun thing for me to do on Sunday. And when Glenn asked me, I was really excited to be able to go back and hug so many friends next on Sunday. So looking forward to it, and I'll see you there.
You bet. Thank you again, Mac. We'll see you Sunday.
Thanks, Craig.
All right. That's Mac Brown. And he's one of those people that you can add the words "the one and only" to because he's something else. All right, coming up, we'll have our Longhorn Notebook, and then after that, we'll also have our Inconceivable File. We got still more to come when we continue with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9 AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com.
Year 2 of the All Flex team is here. Let us know who you think the best players are in Austin area high school football for 2023 by going to flxatx.com or tagging FlexATX on social media. Remember, all positions, including punter, kicker, return specialist, and long snappers. The All Flex watch list will be revealed the week of July 24th, so let us know who needs to be on it. The 2023 All Flex team on the Horn.
Hey, I want to remind you that if you're still trying to make sure you've got your home entertainment set up the way you like it, and I'm talking about, being able to, if you've got a TV that isn't like one of those old TVs. And Rob Abers likes to talk about the TV that has the back on the end. Maybe you've had one of those, and you want that 75-inch HD TV you've seen through a big box store. I just went through a big box store last night, and I was just thinking, thank goodness for Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations. You don't have to worry about that kind of stuff. Tom has all those latest products in stock, not just the TVs and all of the information, all of the equipment there to mount it and make it work right for you, but also the latest sound systems as well. You don't have to worry about the mounting and the equipment and all of that other stuff, let alone the shopping for that in the big box stores. Tom and his staff handle all of that. They'll help work with your vision of how you want to do it and work within your budget as well, because Tom isn't doing like some of the other dealers and raising the prices. He is staying very competitive. Check him out on the web at avconsultations.com. Give Tom and the staff a call at 512-255-8678. Let Tom McKay and Audiovisual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment system of your dreams.
Don't miss the sizzling summer sale going on now at Crestview RV. Every new RV marked down for summer fun. Crestview RV in Buda, I-35 South, exit 220 next to Cabela's, and in Georgetown, I-35 North, exit 268. Online anytime at CrestviewRV.com.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout, cheers to savings.
One of America's top golf destinations is at Horseshoe Bay Resort with the famed Texas Triangle of Slick, Apple, and Ramrock golf courses. Play Slick Rock's famous $1 Million hole over 2 waterfalls. In pristine shape every day, the Slick Rock course plays along the shores of LBJ. Enjoy championship golf with scenic hill country terrain and panoramic vistas of Lake LBJ at Horseshoe Bay Resort's Slick Rock. Book the Robert Trent Jones Unlimited Golf Package now at hsbresort.com.
Quicker games, more action. Baseball looks different in 2023. So do the Texas Rangers. Summer is fun again in Arlington. Make your plans to catch a game or two this season at Globe Life Field. More teams than ever are coming to face the Rangers. Great matchups, lively crowds, and climate-controlled comfort await you at the ballpark, along with fun giveaways and City Connect Fridays. Grab your tickets at Rangers.com.
Light the Tower.
This is Light the Tower on the Horn. Thanks again to Mac Brown joining us there, taking some time to do that. And, I'll look forward to spending some time with him on Sunday with at Coaching School. Coaching School is always another one of those great starter kits, so to speak, for the football season, one of those signpost things, just like Big 12 football media days. That's like the initial one. And then you have Coaching School where you see all the high school coaches and you see many college coaches. Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the SEC, is one of the speakers there at Coaching School. And the Coach Association always does a fabulous job drawing in top-flight coaches on the college level as well. And then we have the Division I FBS coaches panel, all Division I FBS coaches in the state of Texas on the dais. The exception this year, and we found this out the other day at Big 12 Media Days, is that Dave Aranda, the head coach at Baylor, will not be able to be a part of it this year because he just lost his father a little over a week ago in the memorial services this weekend, and we wished him and his family all the best and condolences as well. He won't be there, but the other head coaches, Division I head coaches, Jimbo Fisher of A&M, and obviously Steve Sarkisian for Texas, and Sonny Dykes at Texas at TCU. I mean, all of the Division I FBS coaches, other than Dave Aranda, will be on that panel. So looking forward to that on Sunday. Time now for our Longhorn Notebook for this hour.
Longhorn Notebook.
And it really, as somebody would say, hell, he ain't got it, love DKR. It's true. I remembered that story. And Mac really abbreviated because this young coach was kind of peppering Coach Royal about it. Well, what about this and what about that? And he said if he doesn't have it, he's got to learn to find it. And if he doesn't find it, he's never going to be able to get it, and this and then all that other kind of stuff. And the guy just kind of looked at Mac, and Mac kind of smiled at him like, yeah. He walked away, and then Coach Royal just standing there with his arms folded across his chest, just learning the hell he ain't got it. But that was Coach Royal as well. Bevo Lance Jason saying, I love the chat with Mac. It reminded me of so many good times and great Texas football memories back in those early 2000s. Best part is reminiscing about the relationship with Coach Royal. No doubt it was always good to hear him reminisce about that as well. On the baseball front, like we said, and Ty Harrington did a good job, as he always does, and he was on this morning with Bucky and Aaron, recapping not only what we talked about yesterday about the signing, but also once we were off the airport of Brown making his announcement that he was coming back. And then in addition to that, talking about the decisions with the coaching staff. And, how Coach Pierce, remember, Coach Pierce was the pitching coach at Rice when they won the national championship in 2003. And he had, worked all those other years with the Rice coach, and also handled the pitchers when he was at Sam Houston State and Tulane as well. And that being one of the big notable things to come out of the movement within the structure of his coaching staff. That, and, of course, having Tulo return to have Troy Tulowitzki return to the team is big as well. All right, when we come back, we'll have Inconceivable when we continue with Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260, live, local, and digital on the Horn app and at hornfm.com.
Q2 of the All Flex team is here. Let us know who you think the best players are in Austin area high school football for 2023 by going to FLXATX.com or tagging FlexATX on social media. Remember, all positions, including punter, kicker, return specialist, and long snappers. The All Flex watch list will be revealed the week of July 24th. So let us know who needs to be on it. The 2023 All Flex team on the Horn.
That 2023 All Flex team is just around the corner. You know what else is just around the corner? I use the word even hotter weather than we're already dealing with. Well, you've heard me tell you about Divided Sky Roofing and Solar and our good friend John Hardy and how we know they do great roofs, but they are also a full-service solar company. So in the hottest season of the year, like right now and on into August, when the higher power bills start arriving, why not be prepared and you can save some money with a new Timberline solar shingle roof? Or maybe you already have a solar system, but you don't have a backup battery. Well, then you'd be wasting money, because with a backup battery, you're able to use all of the power you make instead of giving it back to the power company. The batteries are now covered by the Inflation Reduction Act as well. So what does that mean? You'll get that extra tax credit. We can all certainly use that. John and his staff are solar experts. They can repair and service your existing solar system. Those other roofers that you hear about are just selling you a solar roof. John and his staff and Divided Sky and Solar Roofing and Solar can repair and service your existing solar system. They're a true resource. They can help extend the life of your system. All of his crew are master electricians, and they're all NABCET certified. That's the solar version of the master plumber. So trust your roofing and solar needs to the experts, our friends at Divided Sky Roofing and Solar, DividedSkyAustin.com. TEC license number 37397, or give them a call, 512-995-ROOF for Divided Sky Roofing and Solar.
Like sports, business is about winning. Championship decisions are business decisions based on what it takes to help your company win. And that's why there's UBO Business Services, specializing in helping you win every day by streamlining workflow and allowing you to better communicate within your organization and with your customers. Make your championship decision with UBO Business Services. Visit them at ubeo.com. Great people, great service, endless possibilities.
Real Texans are genius.
Bud Light salutes you, overly dedicated Texas Longhorn fan.
How come?
You show up to every UT football, basketball, baseball, volleyball, and ball-related sport there is.
Ping pong.
Each game, you slather your entire body in burnt orange.
Every nook and cranny.
Yes, you're brewed in Texas, and so is your Bud Light. Enjoy responsibly. Texas Edition Bud Light beer cans. Anheuser-Busch, Houston, Texas.
Whew, it's hotter than a Texas barbecue out here.
Yep, That's why I'm heading to Factory Mattress for their Keep Your Cool sales event, featuring the hottest deals on cooler sleep.
I slept in the fridge last night.
Well, lucky for you, they're clearing out $300,000 of closeout inventory and slashing prices up to $1,200 on select Serta iComfort mattresses. Plus, get free delivery or a free adjustable base with select mattresses.
Okay, that sounds cool.
It gets even cooler with their just-released new Tempur-Pedic Breeze that helps you sleep 10 degrees cooler and comes with a free $300 gift.
I feel cooler just hearing about it.
I think your shoe just melted.
Hurry in for the Keep Your Cool sales event and experience the cooler side of sleep at Factory Mattress, where we have sleep down to a science.
My factory mattress.
Diamonds Direct's Midsummer Savings Event is happening right now with an extra 20% savings, an expanded selection, and in-store designer appearances. Take an extraordinary 20% off Diamonds Direct's already unbeatable prices on rings, earrings, bracelets, bands, colored gemstone jewelry, and thousands of engagement ring mountings. Meet the designers who've flown in with all new collections for the summer. The best savings, the best selection, the best value. Don't miss this once-a-year jewelry shopping event. Even open this Sunday. Details, showroom hours, directions, and more at diamondsdirect.com.
Like the Tower with Craig Way and Jeff Howe.
Inconceivable! 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 You keep using the word. I don't think it means what you think it means.
Well, like I said, inconceivable usually means a Florida thing. And Cam has a story. We're going to get to that in a moment. But I got a couple of other topics as well. First of all, the inconceivability of the heat. Yesterday, we had David Yeomans on, the chief meteorologist from KXAN. And I read some more about how hot it's going to be, not only in our area, but obviously across the United States. And what a lot of folks are looking at is I think he called it the desert southwest of the U.S. The National Weather Service in Phoenix has called that heat dome, and we heard David talking about that yesterday. It's just kind of parked itself over the western half of the U.S., has called it one of the strongest high-pressure systems the region has ever seen, and they're anticipating that more than 100 heat records could fall today through the weekend as it intensifies, piling on to the more than 1,000 high-temperature records that have already been broken across the United States since June. More than 90 million people are under heat alerts with this heat dome going on, including Death Valley. Now, I mentioned, Las Vegas, by the way, is going to be about 117 on Sunday. So you probably don't want to be walking on the Strip. That could be trouble. Won't get much cooler at night. The low temperatures are about 90 in Vegas all night. But the hottest place on earth, as we know, Death Valley, could get to those rare highs. We asked David yesterday, what is the highest recorded temperature? He said, well, there was a 134 recorded back in 1913. He said, but it wasn't reliably measured, what they have found out later because of blowing sand and stuff like that. So they said so I asked him, what is the hottest recorded temperature on Earth that was reliably recorded? And he said it's 130, and it was in Death Valley. Well, right now, they're calling for a high on Sunday of 129. That's 1 degree shy of being the hottest ever in recorded history on planet Earth. So it's going to be hot this weekend, as we know. So hope you'll hydrate and be careful about that. Here's something that may appeal to you, Cam. Can you describe, when you were a student, how much did you live on campus versus, say, commuting?
I commuted the entire time.
Did you? Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Did that get to be a little bit of a drag, the daily grind, the drive?
When I had my 8 a.m. media law class and had to be up at 6 a.m. on the road, that was the drag. Besides that, wasn't too bad.
Okay. All right. Here's a guy named Bill, I think it's pronounced Zhou. It's Z-H-O-U. He was living in Los Angeles, and he was a guy who was accepted into a 1-year master's program at Cal Berkeley. Now, for folks who don't know, Cal Berkeley. Berkeley is in Northern California. It's kind of in the Bay Area. It's just east of Oakland, and so it's in that area. So he's looking at what rent would be like to move up there from the LA area, and what he discovered was that it was going to cost about, at the bare bones minimum, $1,600 a month for rent for a one-bedroom, plus all of the regular stuff for what it would cost to do. So then he started doing some math on this thing, and thought, what if I commuted? Now, commuted, we think of driving like you did, right? You were driving in every day from Round Rock. Was that the deal?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. No, if you're commuting from LA to Berkeley, you're driving over 500 miles. So that doesn't work, right? That it just
wouldn't think so.
Yeah. So here's what the deal is. He commuted 3 times a week from Berkeley to LA.
Jeez.
He flew every time. He flew thousands of miles. And as it ended up, he took 238 flights and spent a total of $2,413 on airfare is what he did. So he said, the main reason I could afford flying 3 times a week to school, that I'd accumulate a lot of frequent flyer miles and credit card points over the past few years. Earlier in the pandemic, I took advantage of the cheap fares and flew a couple of mileage runs. So while it did cost him on that, he said Alaska Airlines, he used them, he used Southwest, he used American, he used all of them basically. He took 238 flights. He said, I spent 75,955 minutes on my commute. That was equivalent to 53 days of commuting time. Got his master's.
A lot of airplane peanuts.
I dare say it is that. No doubt about that. Okay, here's a guy who, well, I don't know if commuting is the proper way to do it. Remember the story we did a couple of weeks ago about the guy who escaped prison in Pennsylvania?
Yeah.
It was like up in rural northwestern Pennsylvania. They hadn't caught him yet.
Oh, boy.
So they've been, law enforcement officials have been looking for Michael Burham, B-U-R-H-A-M, spelled just like Durham, but with a B. He's been on the run. It's a little over a week. And they do think they may have a lead on him because what they have found a bag covered by a tarp and hidden under a log, which they say almost certainly was used by him. And a state patrol official for Pennsylvania said this yesterday. And at a daily media update on this manhunt for Burham, and you say, how did he get away? Well, he allegedly escaped through a hole in a gated covering of an exercise room of a jail. So there was a photo of this stash as an example of the stockpiles that they found in the research, containing clothing, some food, and other materials that someone might need if they're trying to exist in the woods. Because it was found in a wooded area near the city of Warren, we do believe that this one thing belongs to him. Now, he didn't disclose any other details in the bag, like where in the area it was found and all that kind of stuff. But they say this dude has survivalist skills, and the totality of the evidence leads them to believe he's still in the area. So think of Rambo, the original Rambo movie,
First Blood.
Think of that when he's living in the mountains on stuff. That's the dude that's on the lam right now. All right, so you do have a Florida offering here.
I do.
Let's hear it.
So, of course, Lionel Messi signed with the Miami MLS Soccer Club.
Yes, he did.
So on Wednesday, he was in the States, underwent his medical. And while they're still working on his contract, it's expected to be made official possibly by as early as today.
Okay.
In the meantime, you know what he's doing?
No.
Shopping at Publix.
Of course he is. For folks who don't know what Publix is, it's a supermarket that's kind of like there he is going through the line there at Publix. It's a little bit like a cross between, say, H-E-B and Central Market, I would say. We went into a Publix there in Myrtle Beach.
Yeah, the pub sub is very, very popular in the Florida area.
Yeah, that's where it started. So he's shopping at Publix.
Shopping at Publix, nice enough to take time with some fans, took some pictures, but yeah, never would have thought possibly the most popular athlete on the entire planet just doing some grocery shopping on a Friday.
Checking out the produce
it's just
prices.
like us, folks.
They have great produce there at Publix.
They do.
There. So,
They do.
all right. So there you go. All right. There's our inconceivable. And he is a Florida man these days. No doubt about it. All right. Our Texas man, Gene Watson, will join us. Our MLB insider will join us. Kind of review of the first half of the Major League Baseball season. Look ahead to the second half. Trade deadlines around the corner. Some other things as well. We'll get Gino's thoughts on all of that coming up. Well, thanks again to Mac Brown. He was outstanding as always. If you missed the conversation, you can catch it on our podcast page at hornfm.com there. So stay with us. Second hour coming up as we continue here on Light the Tower on the Horn, 104.9, 101.9, AM 1260. We're live, local, and digital here on the Horn app and at hornfm.com. Stay with us. We'll continue right after this.
Year 2 of the All Flex team is here. Let us know who you think the best players are in Austin area high school football for 2023 by going to flxatx.com or tagging FlexATX on social media. Remember, all positions, including punter, kicker, return specialist, and long snappers. The All Flex watch list will be revealed the week of July 24th. So let us know who needs to be on it. The 2023 All Flex team on the Horn.
How about a little history tour for you? 10,000 years worth to be exact. What is it? Inner Space Caverns, of course. Located in the depths below Georgetown, your guided adventure tour is ready to take you and your family into the living cavern along a well-lit pathway through time and space. Inner Space Cavern. Take the Hidden Passages tour, the Wild Cave tour. No reservations required. Hit innerspacecavern.com for more tours, times, and even a coupon. Inner Space Cavern. Well-lit, safe, and really cool. Adventures await. Come explore.
Adam and Eve is not giving you 10% off and not 20% off or even 40%. Your discount is even bigger. AdamandEve.com is giving you a whopping 50% off. But why stop there? In addition to 50% off, you also get 10 free gifts. That includes a racy item for him, a sensuous toy for her, and something we know you'll both enjoy. Ooh. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. And best of all, free shipping. Always delivered in discreet packaging. So rethink your bedroom routine. Go to adamandeve.com and enter this station's exclusive code at checkout, free66, and get, you know the discount, 50% off almost any item and 10 tantalizing free gifts. That's free66. Again, free66.
From the UBO Business Services Studios, you're listening to KTXX-FM and HD1 BK, KTAE-AM Elgin, K270CO Round Rock.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout. Cheers to savings.
Skip the surprise add-ons and hidden fees and come see Henna Chevrolet.
I went to this one Chevy dealer, and they wanted $5,000 over sticker for all these absurd additions that were packaged as add-ons. I came in because of the online price, but apparently that wasn't the actual price, so I left and went to Henna. Long story short, I love my new Silverado.
For crystal clear pricing, Find new roads at HannahChevyAustin.com.
Hey, it's Aaron Hogan from my favorite spot, Hayes City Store and Ice House. It's all because of their Scratch Texas comfort food, wood-fried pizzas, chicken fried steak, those truck stop enchiladas, cold beverages, amazing margaritas, 53 beers on tap. Watch your favorite sports on that newly expanded outdoor Ice House, and they're hosting live music on the stage 6 nights a week. Hayes City Store, right there at the intersection of FM 150 and FM 3237 between Kyle and Wimberley. Facebook page for daily specials, complete mouth-watering menu online at HayesCityStoreTX.com. Hey, it's Aaron Hogan for QC Kinetics, reminding you not to give in to that constant nagging joint pain that you're dealing with. I know a lot of you have gotten to the point where it's just the new normal. It's just the way it's going to be. Nothing I can do about it. Well, you can. Take control and take back the quality of your life with the help from our friends at QC Kinetics. They're amazing non-surgical treatments that can repair and restore damaged joint tissue. They use the latest advances in regenerative medicine, taking your body's own healing agents, highly concentrating them, then putting them right into the area where you have that agonizing pain. Your body will heal itself. You just have to allow it to do so. This incredible non-invasive approach helps you take back control of your body, relieving that pain in your knees, and your hips, your shoulder, or your back. No invasive surgery, no harmful drugs or steroids, and no downtime. Listen, summer should be the time you're out having fun, making memories, golfing, hiking, enjoying the outdoors. Take control now and start living pain-free again. 512-593-4303 at QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in regenerative medicine. That's 512-593-4303. They have a location in Austin and Round Rock at QC Kinetics, 512-593-4303.
This hour brought to you by Lake Travis Eye and Laser Center, offering the latest technology for cataracts and laser lens replacement. The newest technology is at Lake Travis Eye and Laser Center.
Guests on the Horn appear courtesy of the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. Vaqueros now delivers and offers curbside pickup. For info on placing your lunch or dinner order, visit vaqueroscafe.com. It's Light the Tower, your daily look around the world of sports. With Hall of Fame broadcaster and voice of the Texas Longhorns, Craig Way, and Horns 24/7 insider, Jeff Howe, on your live, local, and independent home for sports talk in Austin, The Horn.
We continue and roll on with Light the Tower here on the Horn. Again, Jeff Howe will be back in on Monday as he's finishing up some Horns 24/7 business today. So Craig Way with you as always, and our producer Cameron Parker alongside as well. Our thanks again. Mac Brown joined us in hour number one as we go to the cleanup of hour number one on the Specs text line at 337-3776. And a lot of folks really enjoyed the conversation with Mac. So thanks to our Dub and Beaver Lance Jason and several others. Somebody said, I'd run through a wall for Mac. Here's somebody else put up another Coach Royal quote. If worms carried pistols, birds wouldn't eat them. DKR on why he ran the score up on Rice one time. So anyway, somebody else said, miss you, Coach, and heard a story about DKR playing golf with Larry Gatlin, who had a bad shot and got real angry. DKR said, you're not good enough to get mad at bad shots. That's true. That's the philosophy as I've taken. One day I played when I was on vacation. I played a really nice golf course and I actually hit the ball pretty decent for the first time really playing a competitive round of golf in 2 years. And I was using a set of clubs that I'd never hit before and actually hit pretty well, but I couldn't putt to save my life. And my short game was very good, but a couple of things that he rode pretty quickly off of that when you don't play. But, I hit one and it was going the wrong way. Oh, no, I thought, I'm not going to get mad about this. My game doesn't, I don't deserve to get mad about my game, about that kind of stuff. So, anyway, I understand that.
Where'd you get to play at?
I played Sea Trail down there right near Sunset Beach. And they have 3 courses there, and they're really nice. I've played them all multiple times, the Reese Jones course, the Dan Maples course, and the Willard Bird course. And I played the Bird course, and that was good. Sometimes I measure about how well my round of golf is about how many golf balls I lose. Mm-hmm. I only lost 2, and it was on the same hole. It was a par 5, and I hit a really good tee shot. And the second one, trying to not reach the green in 2, but just trying to get in position. But there's a little pond, and it trickled in. So then I took a drop out, scuffed my chip toward up, and then chipped back across the green and went back in the water.
Oh, man.
I took a triple bogey 8. So.
That's the worst feeling in the world.
Up and down again. Thank you, CB. It's a great interview. Enjoyed that, and lots of folks did as well. Appreciate that. And if you missed it, you can catch it on the podcast page at hornfm.com. I don't know if he's a golfer or if he has played that much, but our next guest, I know, knows baseball. He's our baseball insider, of course. So many years in the bigs, and World Series rings to prove it as well. And that's Gene Watson, who joins us right now on the Vaqueros Cafe and Cantina Hotline. I've never asked you this. Have you ever played a round of golf?
So I played high school golf at Temple High School.
Did you really?
I did, yeah. I played through my senior year. I was never good, but I played because I like to play.
Yeah.
But once you get into baseball, it's kind of, your time is never of your own. There's always another player, another game, another something to be working on. But I have a funny story for you if you want to hear it.
Sure.
So Ryan Goins, who retired from the major leagues, who I signed with the Royals, lives in the Austin area. He now works for us in Omaha. Called me in January and he said, "Hey, I'm going to retire. I want to take you out to play a round of golf as a present for everything you've done for my career." And I said, "Look, man, I've played 5 times in 25 years. It's not going to be pretty." And we were playing the UT golf course. Unbelievable course, as everybody knows.
Sure.
And I said, "Look, we'll play 9 holes. I'll give you about 10 shots where you say, 'Hey man, that's pretty good.'" And so we get to 8 and he said, he goes, "Dude, if you practice at all, you'd be an okay golfer." And so here comes a group of ex-major league players in 2 golf carts with country music singer Brett Young.
Okay.
And they go, "Hey, you guys are going to jump in with us." And I leaned over to Ryan and said, "Ryan, I'm not playing." And one of the guys I didn't know said, "Hey, man, you're playing." And you know how you get that adrenaline, that competitive spirit in you to keep going. So for the next 7 holes, I played like the greatest round of my life. And Ryan comes over after about 4 holes and he goes, "Brett Young shows up and you turn into Tiger Woods." So it was a wonderful day and a great course. And I played a week later and realized how bad I was, and I haven't played since.
Well, I apologize for being a little delayed getting to you as we had that conversation going with Mac Brown, and I know you got to know Mac really, really well over the years, and I know you have a lot of admiration and respect for Mac as well.
Oh, I love Mac. Mac, we actually had a mutual friend, one of my mentors. People don't know Mac is a big baseball fan and a huge New York Yankees fan, because a Yankee legend by the name of Clyde King, who is from North Carolina, was good friends with Mac. And when Mac got the Texas job, I would basically drive Clyde to all of the games in spring training in the late 90s. And he calls me, he goes, "Hey, a good friend of mine got the Texas job." And I'll never forget Fan Appreciation Day. Tyler's like 5 years old, and we go up to Fan Appreciation Day, and I said, "Coach Brown," I said, "Clyde King's a really good friend of mine, a mentor of mine," and Mac walked us through. He couldn't have been any kinder, and we've had a relationship ever since. And I love him so much, and I'll never forgive you for making me following him on this radio show.
Clyde King. Now, tell me if I'm wrong on this. I love the history of the game. If I remember correctly, Clyde King was the manager of the San Francisco Giant team that won the National League West in 1971. The Pirates beat him in the NLCS and went on to win the World Series that year over the Orioles. But the Giants won that National League West division by 1 game over the team I root for. And if I remember correctly, Clyde King was the manager of that Giants team.
That is correct. And he was one of the great blessings of my life is we would stay at the Bay Harbor Radisson, which George Steinbrenner owned. And so, you go down to the restaurant, you go into the lobby, and there's just Yankee greats everywhere. And I happened to run into Clyde King in the lobby, and he saw my bag. I was with the Padres. And he said, "Young man, are you going to the Yankee game today?" And I said, "Yes, sir, I am." I had no idea who it was. And he goes, "Would you mind if I ride with you?" And I basically became Clyde King's driver for that spring. And just to have that gift of its wisdom and experience and the rides to and from the ballpark of the do's and don'ts, it was truly one of the greatest gifts of my career. And I loved Clyde so much, and he meant so much to my career and my life. And I miss him dearly.
By the way, this is something that'll make you and I both feel a little bit older. Our man CB on the Specs text line, he listened to the interview with Mac, and he added a Coach Royal quote that said, here was the quote: "Breaks balance out. The sun don't shine on the same old dog's rear end every day." There was that, and there were some other ones. But I'd made a reference to the time when Mac and I were doing his show in the conference room. I think you came over one time we were doing that, and it was Halloween weekend, and he had this alien mask on. So CB has a picture of it. He took a screenshot of it because it was live on Longhorn Network at the time as well. And there's me and Max sitting at a table, and it's got the background mural of DKR, and he's wearing the alien mask. And then beneath it, this is how I know how old this picture is. It's on the ESPN crawl on Longhorn Network at the bottom. It has World Series, Cardinals, Red Sox. Gino, that's 2004.
Wow.
Is that's how long ago that is? That's 2004. Wow. Were you still with the Marlins in 04? Because you were with them when they won the World Series in 03.
I was.
Yeah.
I was. I left in August of 06 when Dayton got the job in Kansas City. Craig, the greatest memory I will never forget, and I've got goosebumps thinking about it right now, but I will never forget, and this has resonated with me as a father of an athlete, as a one that's around athletes every day, seeing our minor league system, meeting players basically everywhere. I will never forget the night they won the national championship in LA when they beat USC. And Mac Brown said something to the team, and I know you were there, and I got goosebumps talking about it. Mac Brown said to the players in that room that night, "Don't let this be the greatest night of your life."
Yeah.
And that just resonated so much with me as to this is just such a small chapter of our lives and everything we do, and what I do and what you do, what these student athletes do. And for him to have that perspective in that moment and really be that type of leader, father figure, coach for life, to say that in that moment just truly speaks to where he places the game of college football in people's lives. And I just thought it was unbelievable that he said that night.
No doubt about it. Gene Watson joining us right now, talking Major League Baseball. Okay. I'll put the question to you similar to what I put to Cameron. I asked Cameron what did he like most about the figurative first half of the Major League season. Let me ask you, what either impressed you the most or surprised you, or both? What impressed you the most about the first half of the Major League season, and what surprised you the most?
What impressed me the most is how great the rule changes have been, how it's just transitioned into just such a much better product. The game is faster. Television viewing is at an all-time high. Attendance is at an all-time high. The style of play, you look at what Luis Arraez is doing in Miami, pushing 400. You look at the individual players and the accomplishments that they're having. I think it's just a better product. And for them to – and it came under great criticism when they started testing these things in the minor leagues, and people just rolled their eyes that this isn't going to work and you're changing 100 years of history and why would we do this, to just how easy it transitioned and the players transitioned and how great of the product it is right now. And I think that's been the biggest thing. The biggest surprise has been the Cincinnati Reds, and it is an unbelievable story. Their pitching coach, Derek Johnson, is a very good friend of mine. And I remember being with them last year in Cincinnati and taking them to Denver and us going to dinner after a game on a Saturday afternoon in Denver, and just how low they were as an organization. And to add a Matt McClain and to add a Yuri De La Cruz and to add that young pitching and Andrew Abbott and what it has done to that organization and that city and that ballpark. I was there in May, and they were struggling, and they bring up Yuri De La Cruz. They've gone crazy ever since. It's standing room only, and that's how fast the switch can flip in this game. And they've just been a remarkable story, and it's going to be so much fun to watch them in the second half.
MLB.com has they do, and you're well aware of this, for folks who don't know, they do an MVP award poll, and they do it at different points of the season. And they have 47 reporters and analysts who participate in this. And the players receive votes based on points on a scale from 5 points for a first place vote, 4 for a second place vote, 3 for a third place, 2 for a fourth place, and 1 point for a fifth place vote. So you vote 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. 47 people balloted, Gino. And so this vote that just came down this morning for American League MVP, Shohei Ohtani. For National League MVP, Ronald Acuna Jr. Now, it's not just that those two guys have been in the poll picked to win the MVP. Both were unanimous selections out of 47 people balloting. They were both unanimous choices. The American League had Luis Robert Jr. of the White Sox in the 2 spot. Wander Franco of the Rays got the 3rd most votes. Yandy Diaz of the Rays got the 4th most. Adolis Garcia of the Rangers got the 5th most MVP votes in this balloting. Ronald Acuna Jr., as I mentioned, received all 47 first-place votes for the National League MVP. Mookie Betts of the Dodgers, number 2. Corbin Carroll of the Diamondbacks, 3rd. Freddie Freeman of the Dodgers, 4th. Luis Arias of the Marlins, 5th. What's your take on that? First of all, do you agree with that? Do you think that that those two guys, these two unanimous favorites, according to this latest MVP poll right now, in your estimation, are the American and National League most valuable players?
100%, Craig, and I think with some separation. I think what they bring to the team, and people like to make the debate on an MVP as if like the team has to win. And that's not how it works. For me, that's not how it works, because the player doesn't get to choose ownership's commitment to what they're going to spend payroll-wise. The player doesn't get to choose how the major league team is constructed. And there's a lot of criticism about Shohei and Mike and have never won and all of those things. But the players don't get to decide. And I think with both Ronald and Shohei, not only are they the MVP favorites, but there's some separation with that. Now, could Luis Arias push 400 in the second half with the balanced schedule? Absolutely. And I think as you get into August and September, if he's pushing 400, I think now he becomes, because that's such a historical mark, now he becomes, he'll narrow the gap. But because I lived it every day, I don't think people truly understand what Shohei Ohtani is all about from a preparation standpoint on the mound, from a preparation standpoint at the plate, what that time involves at the major league level, the life you have to live outside the ballpark, the focus that you have to have every minute of every day. And so they're truly two of the great players in baseball, and rightfully where they need to be in the MVP voting.
Well, and I think the other thing, and this probably stands up exactly to what you're talking about. In 1987, Andre Dawson hits 49 home runs. He drives in 137 runs. He bats .287. He wins the National League Most Valuable Player Award. He wins the National League Most Valuable Player Award in 1987 for those numbers. The Chicago Cubs, the team for which he played, finished in dead last place in the National League East. They were 76 and 85. Keith Moreland knows he played on that team, and Hawk was his teammate there. But that's an example of what you're talking about. Here's an MVP on a last place team. And for folks who say, well, how can that be? Because, they're 18 and a half behind. They'd be 30 and a half behind, or more or something like it if they didn't have Andre Dawson on that team.
Well, first of all, I'm a lifelong Cub fan. I remember that team. I was fortunate enough to work with Andre in Miami, and one of the greatest nights of my life was spent with him in 2003 after Game 4 of the World Series. It's an incredible story. But again, it's almost harder to do something like that because you don't have the protection around you to put those type of numbers up. And as your team begins to go south, the focus, the personal pride and focus that you have to bring to the ballpark every day to perform at that level when your team is not good makes it even more impressive as to what he accomplished.
No question. By the way, for folks who are wanting to know, that year, 1987, a 33-year-old Keith Moreland hit 266 with 27 homers and 88 runs batted in. So Zonk did his part too. he on that 87 Cubs team. Visiting with Gene Watson here. What about Acuna? And what we're obviously seeing, and sure enough, our texter Jeff Mudd on the Specs text line texted something I was going to get to about this. Acuna has that opportunity to be the first ever 40-80 guy in the National League. He's actually on a pace to hit 38 home runs and steal 75 bases. There's never been a 30-70 guy in Major League history, but there are those who feel he could be on track for a 40-80 year, Acuna.
He's incredible, and this is a sticky one for me because we finished second in the signing of him, and we actually thought we had him done, and Atlanta got him signed before we could finish the deal. But just such a tremendous talent. His plate discipline. I mean, he's got as many walks as strikeouts as he does. The power. He's so core strong for his size, and you know, in watching a lot of young players play the game, they try to take the approach of Acuna, the approach of Altuve. Those guys are absolutely core strong. They're born with their core strength, and that's what he has. And to be able to do what he does in that lineup, the plate discipline that he shows, the ability to steal bases like he has, 41 stolen bases. I mean, he is the absolute complete player. And what's even more impressive about him is how much fun he has playing the game. And he is certainly the catalyst of that ball club, and they're the best team in baseball right now, and it's going to be a great story down the stretch.
Okay, Gino, coming up on trade deadline, and I know, you know, obviously there, you know, who knows about what could happen, but the most talked about question is, might the Angels be willing to deal Shohei Ohtani? Now, as inconceivable, to use our term, as that might seem to some, and I know they got into that conversation during the All-Star game about, do you trade a guy of that unbelievable immense talent when you could have two players or three players or whatever to come out of that to do that? And I mean, that's the rub for teams like the Angels. And I know since you were with the Angels for a brief time, you know, obviously how special he is and the management, what they think of him as well. But those are the kind of evaluative things they have to go through, right? Is if they even seriously entertain trading Ohtani, about what they could get in return and how they might build it from there, as opposed to what he means to the franchise, to the city, to their fan base.
No question. And there's two trains of thought with this. One is, well, the biggest thing for me is, how are they going to come out of the break? 44% of their payroll is on the IL right now. Mike Trout's out. Anthony Rendon is out. Brandon Drury is out. Obviously, I mean, that's a big hit to that lineup and to that team. I do believe you have to do the work on it, even if you know in the back of your mind this is not something we're going to do. I think you have to do the work on it. And as it gets into that 72, 96-hour window, I do think you have a responsibility to make a presentation to ownership and say, look, I know you don't want to do this, but this is really where we're at. I think you have to have discrete conversations with other clubs. And then there's two trains of thought. There are the teams that would trade for him right now, knowing if we bring him in, we're never letting him go. We're going to work a contract extension of monumental proportion. And then there's teams that might be looking at it going, hey, we've got no chance of signing him this winter, but let's take a shot. Let's make a run at getting him for the rest of the year. You've got obviously a top of the rotation starter and a middle of the order run producing bat. And so I think there's two trains of thought as to what the market could be for Shohei. And so Perry Manassian's got one of the more difficult jobs in the game right now in measuring how his team comes out of the break. And as it draws closer to the deadline, and I've been in many circumstances over 34 years where we're not trading him, and then 3 days before, the phone rings and it's an offer you just can't refuse, and you make the trade. And so I think you always have to do the work. You assume nothing in the market. You assume nothing in how ownership views the situation. You do the work and you have yourself prepared as it leads up to the deadline. And it's certainly a difficult decision, but as you look over time, 1, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, the game just keeps going. And if you can do what's best for your organization and they can get a large package that impacts that organization with guys like Neto and Logan O'Hoppe and all those young pitchers they've got coming, it would certainly make sense for them to do it.
Hey, I asked you a little over a month ago, I said, fact or fiction, the American League Central champion will be at or below 500, and you said, I think they will be above 500, but maybe just barely. Here's Cleveland at 45-45. You still feel good about that it'll finish just a little above 500, whoever wins that American League Central?
84-86 will probably get it done, I think.
Okay.
Just a little bit above, and it's where the digression is going to lie with a lot of clubs is you've got 5 teams within 5 games in the American League. You got 6 teams within 8 games in the National League, and really about 7 to 10 days to see how teams come out of the gate. They're rested. Guys that had nagging injuries have had a chance to catch their breath. So how teams come out of the gate is going to be big. And then you've got the teams that are sitting there, 4 to 6 out of the wild card going, do we really have a chance, or should we trade this starter? Should we trade this bullpen guy? Should we trade this bat to give us a better opportunity, maybe take 1 step back to go 2 steps forward in 24 and 25? So you've got, and that's what the schedule has done. Another great thing of what this schedule has done is it's given teams, it's made teams make very harsh decisions to their fan base as to, hey, we're going to keep pushing and we're going to add, or we're going to take a step back to go 2 steps forward next year, knowing that we really don't compete with the Tampas, with the Atlantas, with the LAs, with the, those really, really upper level teams. And so that's a decision that each organization is going to have to make moving forward, and how they come out of the gate in the next 5 to 7, 8 games is going to be really, really important to those decisions.
Final thing here. I'm going to ask for your call on this. Which is the surest bet to win its division? In the American League East, Tampa Bay has a 2-game lead on the Orioles, and the Jays are 7 back, Yankees 8 back, Red Sox 9 back, 5 above 500. They'd be in first place by 5 games in the Central if they were there. In the Central, the Guardians are up a half game on Minnesota, right at that 500 mark. In the West, the Rangers lead the Astros by 2, the Mariners by 6, the Angels by 7. In the National League East, the Braves are up 8.5 on the Marlins, even though the Marlins are 14 games above 500 in a good story. The Reds are up a game on the Brewers and 7 on the Cubs in the Central. The Dodgers and Diamondbacks in a virtual tie in the West, with the Giants 2.5 back. Of those 6 teams, which is the safest bet to win its division?
I would say the Braves.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the Braves are, it's such a wide gap, and they're such a talented team. They are so incredibly talented. The Rangers and Astros in Seattle, it's going to be a dogfight to the very end, because Texas has the best system, one of the best systems in baseball. So they can either use the system with an Owen White. Ronald Acuna Jr.'s brother is in AA, tremendous prospect. They can use their system to add either internally to their major league team or outside in trade. So but those 3 teams, Seattle's pitching is so good. I think that those 3 teams, that's going to be a dogfight down to the last week. I think Baltimore is a tremendously talented team. I think they're going to make moves into the deadline. They've got a very, very good system. So I wouldn't be surprised if that Tampa-Baltimore situation separates itself a little bit from the rest of the division. And pay attention to Milwaukee. They've got a very good team. They haven't really hit on all cylinders other than the week I saw them in April in Seattle and LA. They still have that experience, and they've got a tremendous manager. Cincinnati's been a great story. They've got a very good system. It'll be interesting to see how those 2 play out. And the West, I mean, and as much as the Dodgers have that 2.5 game cushion and Arizona's had a wonderful story, I just have a hard time believing that San Diego's not going to pull back into this thing. They're so ultra talented. AJ Preller works extremely hard to improve that team, and I just think that that's going to be a 4-team race down to the end in September and October.
All right. Gino, I appreciate it. Is Melanie tired of your cooking yet?
It's been awful, Craig. It's been bad. It's just terrible. I've burnt grilled cheeses. We resorted to biscuits and jelly this morning, so that's how bad it's gotten.
Oh, bless her heart. All right, tell her thinking about her, and stay on the mend, and you. Hopefully you'll get better in the kitchen too, so that's a good thing. All right,
Craig.
Thanks. I'll see you around the corner.
Okay, take care.
All right, that's Gene Watson, our MLB insider. We need a break. When we come back, we'll have a Flex 30 update and our Longhorn Notebook for this hour when we continue with Light the Tower on the Horn.
Year 2 of the All Flex team is here. Let us know who you think the best players are in Austin area high school football for 2023 by going to FLXATX.com or tagging FlexATX on social media. Remember, all positions, including punter, kicker, return specialist, and long snappers. The All Flex watch list will be revealed the week of July 24th. So let us know who needs to be on it. The 2023 All Flex team on the Horn.
Yeah, Big 12 Media Day is the official start of football season. But before the official start gets here, make sure your home audio visual setup is exactly the way you want it. And if your home entertainment center is lacking, get with Audio Visual Consultations right now, 512-255-8678. That's 255-8678. Get in touch with Tom McKay and upgrade right now. That's the call I made a few years ago. And what I love about Audio Visual Consultations is they'll come out to your house. They'll put together a project that makes sense, not just for the budget you've got in mind. It'll make sense for the amount of space you've got in your house. That's why when I'm watching all my sports movies and TVs, I'm watching it now on a 75-inch LG TV, hearing it crystal clear with the Sonos sound system that you can hear all throughout the house. That's what AV Consultations can do for you. So maybe you need a smaller setup, or you need something in the man cave. Maybe you want a gaming setup. And I've seen Tom McKay and his crew put together those 4-screen setups and do a lot of different things in some really small spaces and get creative with your home entertainment experience. So don't worry about it. Just call them, let them take all the worry out of it. Or if you're ready to just blow it out for football season, you want to be the place where everybody goes for the big games. You want your house to be that spot. You want to get you one of those 150-inch screens. I know AV Consultations would love to make your dream become a reality, but don't hesitate. Call right now. Get it done well ahead of football season. Make sure you're prepared. Call 512-255-8678. Call 255-8678 and let Tom McKay and Audio Visual Consultations help you realize the home entertainment setup of your dreams.
Now at Crestview RV, every new RV marked down for summer fun. Crestview RV in Buda, I-35 South, exit 220 next to Cabela's. And in Georgetown, I-35 North, exit 268. Online anytime at CrestviewRV.com.
A Cover 3 weekend brunch is the perfect way to kickstart a relaxing weekend. There's nothing like getting together with friends, family, and colleagues enjoying a delicious brunch with a Bloody Mary bar at Cover 3. The atmosphere at Cover 3 is always lively, and their Bloody Mary bar is a hit with brunch. With a selection of different mixes and garnishes paired nicely with their delicious fried New York strip steak and eggs, or the breakfast quesadillas. Make the most of your weekend at Cover 3. Google Cover 3 to find a location near you this weekend.
Running a small business takes grit and determination, and a communications provider that's got your back. That's Spectrum Business. Fast, reliable communication solutions that keep your business going. Get 300 megabits per second internet, just $49.99 a month when bundled with Spectrum Business Connect, the all-in-one phone system that lets you work from anywhere on any device. And get a free mobile line for a year. Visit spectrum.com/go faster. Restrictions apply. Services not available in all areas.
Hey folks, it's Bucky here, and I want to tell you about one of my good friends over at Syntex Tickets, Shelby. The best local sources for tickets you need. Syntex Tickets has tickets for every event, from college football to college basketball, NFL, soccer, the theater, Las Vegas, and of course Broadway, South by Southwest, MotoGP, and the PGA. Syntex Tickets is also the best source of tickets for the University of Texas and for future Longhorn and A&M tickets and more. Visit SyntexTickets.com. Yo, Shelby, get them to me, and get them to me quick.
Flex ATX for the best high school sports coverage. Listen to the Horn and go to FLXATX.com. Flex 30 is brought to you by Brain Vault. Brain Vault is a revolutionary and patented mouthguard that has been proven to help reduce the risk of concussion. Visit BrainVault.com and join the movement.
All right, time for a Flex 30 update, and what we've done with it, obviously, is to preview, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, the districts and the area teams to watch. We've gone through all 3 of the 6A districts. We've gone through all of the 5A districts, the 4A districts yesterday, the 3A districts, and today, the 2 Class 2A districts to wrap up the week. 13 2A Division 1. Thorndale is certainly one to watch in there. Thrall, Hearn, of course, yes, MJ from Hearn would be happy to hear about that. They're picked to be a playoff team. But Flatonia is going to be the team to beat in that district. The Bulldogs coming back off an 11-2 Sweet 16 appearance with 5 offensive and 6 defensive starts. Thorndale is picked second, by the way, a team that went to the second round of the playoffs last year with a 9-3 mark, and they got 5 starters back on the offense and 3 on the defensive side. Then it's Holland, Hearn, Thrall, Weimer, and Schulenburg, the district preview and the prediction of Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine. That is in 13 2A Division 1. Then in Division 2, the smallest 11-man classification is 13 2A D2. Chilton has picked to win the district. We drove through Chilton the other day on the way back and saw that they're getting ready, fired up for the season. And of course, Chilton last year managed to go to the Sweet 16 and went 12-1. They were unbeaten going into that. Granger is picked second. Remember, they also were a state quarterfinalist. Coach Brosh's team was a state quarterfinals last year. They did lose some starters on the offensive side, so they only have 3 back on offense and 3 on the defensive side. But they do have Chase Edwards back at the 2-way player, quarterback, and linebacker. So Granger picked second, followed by Bremont, Milano, Iola, and Bartlett. There it is, according to Dave Campbell's Texas Football Magazine, your district preview of the 2A districts involving Central Texas, Greater Austin area schools. Time now for our second hour Longhorn Notebook.
Longhorn Notebook.
And on the recruiting front, we didn't even get a chance really to talk about it much yesterday. It was only in passing, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention, of course, the commitment of Melvin Hills, the 3-star defensive tackle, giving his commitment to it as well. So he's from Lafayette, Louisiana. And by the way, down there in southwestern Louisiana, they do call it Lafayette. Lafayette is a college in Easton, Pennsylvania, in the town of Easton, Pennsylvania. It's Lafayette. If you're down there in Acadiana, down there in the Cajun country, they will tell you that it is Lafayette. But anyway, he chose the Longhorns over LSU, Auburn, and Ole Miss. Wanted to make sure we got that in there as well. We'll be back, but before we do that, hey, I didn't forget. 7th caller right now, caller number 7 at 512-447-3776 to win a copy of Dave Campbell's 2023 Texas Football Magazine. 512-447-3776. Be caller number 7. We'll be back to wrap up Light the Tower on the Horn.
B&E.
You talked about how what'd you give your brother the
sleeper
hold?
Oh yeah.
We used to my brother and I used to try to give each other the figure 4 leg lock.
Oh
yeah, that was always good. And
yeah, the sleeper was the best.
And then what'd you say when you actually put your brother to sleep?
He actually went down. His hands went limp. My mom heard me going, "Sleep, bitch, sleep." The dude was
calling your brother a B?
Yeah, I said, "Go ahead." He was
Mornings
out.
from 6 till 10. The Horn.
Skip the surprise add-ons and hidden fees and come see Henna Chevrolet.
I went to this one Chevy dealer, and they wanted $5,000 over sticker for all these absurd additions that were packaged as add-ons. I came in because of the online price, but apparently that wasn't the actual price, so I left and went to Henna. Long story short, I love my new Silverado.
For crystal clear pricing, find new roads at HennaChevyAustin.com.
Your garage door won't go up or down, so give us a call. We're all over town.
promise to you is honest and fair. The real Cedar Park overhead doors.
Great install, honest and genuine. You can trust them. Those are just a few of the many reviews you'll read about the real Cedar Park overhead doors. A+ rated from the Better Business Bureau. Ranked #1 and the largest overhead garage door specialist in Central Texas. 30 years of a locally owned family business that wants to serve your family. Need a garage repair? Cedar Park Overhead Doors will fix it. From springs to openers, if it's broke, we'll fix it with only the best in parts and service. Here for you 24 hours a day at 335-7441 and online anytime at cedarparkgaragedoors.com.
We work really hard while the other guy snores. Happy customers, we have more. We'll get it right and we'll get the job done. We're Cedar Park Overhead Doors.
335-7441.
It's time to warm up that scoreboard and get ready to bring home the win with Specs. Specs has you covered with lower prices on all your favorite fan fuel. From craft beer, rare spirits, and world-class wine to chips, dips, and gourmet finer foods. And with same-day delivery when you order online or through the app, Specs is your MVP for the biggest score of the game. At Specs, the fun starts here.
Here's to you, shout, cheers to savings.
Seeking specialized patient-focused orthopedic care? Contact the experts at Texas Orthopedics. Our physicians offer comprehensive surgical and non-surgical orthopedic care for children and adults. Spine care, sports medicine, trauma care, joint replacement, rheumatology, and more. Whether it's a mobility or movement issue or a traumatic injury, our goal is to get you back to good health and quality of life. Visit us at txortho.com to learn more and to schedule an appointment. Texas Orthopedics, the largest independent orthopedic practice in Central Texas.
Whew, it's hotter than a Texas barbecue out here.
Yep, that's why I'm heading to Factory Mattress for their Keep Your Cool sales event, featuring the hottest deals on cooler sleep.
I slept in the fridge last night.
Well, lucky for you, they're clearing out $300,000 of closeout inventory and slashing prices up to $1,200 on select Serta iComfort mattresses. Plus, get free delivery or a free adjustable base with select mattresses.
Okay, that sounds cool.
It gets even cooler with their just-released new Tempur-Pedic Breeze that helps you sleep 10 degrees cooler and comes with a free $300 gift.
I feel cooler just hearing about it.
I think your shoe just melted.
Hurry in for the Keep Your Cool sales event and experience the cooler side of sleep at Factory Mattress, where we have sleep down to a science.
My factory mattress.
Well, that's going to wrap up the show today. Oh, Bizarro Dale Dudley reminded me of something. We did, the Mac Brown thing happened so late in the day, and it totally took my memory away from what we were going to do. We're going to do this on Monday, Cameron Parker, the I've Been Everywhere song, the Johnny Cash song, whatever. We're gonna do that and play that and count how many of the places that I have been to out of that. So Bizarro Dale Dudley, yes, we'll get to it. And this is like you got a lot going on right now. True words never spoken, my friend. So I said the TxDOT commercial about speeding seems like a message for Craig. Hey, cosign. I'm right there with you. I got to do better with that, right? All right, stay tuned. Coming up, Chad and Zay. Jeff will be back with me on Monday. I'm going down to Houston for the weekend there. Do that Q&A with Mac Brown, Division I football coaches panel discussion. We'll have all of that, the recap of that, and a lot more. Thanks to our producer, Cameron Parker. I'm Craig Way. We'll see you Monday on Light the Tower on the Horn.
Q2 of the All Flex team is here. Let us know